Kasper Schmeichel retires and Neill inducted into the LMA Hall of Fame. Let's talk about it, guys. Before we get into this video, if you could please hit the subscribe button, it would be really much appreciated. Trying to grow this channel as much as possible. It's relatively new, but if you are into Celtic content daily, updated news as much as possible, then this is a place for you guys. Hit that subscribe button, like and comment also. So at the age of 39 years old, Kasper Schmeichel has decided, albeit forced, into retiring. Such a shame for the guy, 120 caps for Denmark, that's no mean feat, He's played at major tournaments, he's won Premier Leagues, he's won Charity Shields, FA Cups, and then he's come up to Scotland and he's just won a double. It's a real shame. He had to get shoulder injury treatment, he had to get a surgery back in March, and he's not been seen since. It's a shame, it really is. Here's what Kasper's had to say. When my contract with Celtic expires in June, I will stop my active football career, Schmeichel announced to 2v2. It is a decision that has been made for me. I have consulted various surgeons and experts in relation to my shoulder, and they have told me that I should not expect to return to playing top football. I have given the decision a lot of thought, but I believe that now is the right time. Schmeichel, son of former Manchester United goalkeeper Peter, was Leicester's number one when the Foxes won the Premier League in 2016, an accomplishment valued at 5,000 to 1 at the start of the season. He also captained Leicester to an FA Cup and Community Shield trophies in 2021. He also made 120 caps for Denmark and represented his country at the World Cup and 2 European Championships. Yeah, like I say, it is a real shame for Kasper at the end of the day. He's had a long career. His dad was a footballer, so those pressures came along with him. But, he done well. He did do really well as a footballer. Can't take that away for the guy. He accomplished a lot. Like I say, 120 caps for Denmark. That's unbelievable in this day and age to get that amount of caps as a goalkeeper. To be honest with you, it's a position that, can be precarious at times. Someone makes a mistake, then someone could come in, easily replace them. We see that all the time. So, as for Celtic, when it comes to Kasper, I think he didn't have the best season last season, let's be honest. He struggled a bit. People saying he was overweight, for a goalkeeper and stuff like that as a professional footballer. And you could tell, the goal at Kilmarnock, when I'm sure it was Hugo that scored the goal, and Kasper went with his right arm when he could have just went with his left, and it saved it easily, to be honest. But clearly he was carrying that injury at that point. It's a real shame for him to have to retire. I often wonder now, what do these guys do? Where do they go? Is he going to get into the media? Is he going to try a bit of coaching or whatever? I'm sure he'll decide that all in due course. But it's probably a bit of a shock to the guy, because he was still playing at relatively top level for Celtic and stuff like that as well. So, and then when it comes to Celtic, where do we go for here? Is it Sinisalo that's going to be on the sticks? I know that we are linked with other players, other goalkeepers at the moment, but will that change? Will Sinisalo still be the number one going into the new campaign? Time will tell on that one. We don't even know who our manager is yet, as I keep harping on about. Still nothing announced on that front today. It's looking like Martin Neill or Robbie Keane, but whoever comes in, whatever one of them is going to be, if it is one of them, then they're going to have to make a major decision on the goalkeeper, because I don't really think Sinisalo's put a foot wrong, but at the end of the day, is he quite good enough? I'm not sure if he's as good a shot stopper as we'd really need at the top level. I don't know. I don't think he's, like I said, I don't think he's put a foot wrong, but I'm not sure he's actually done much either. It's not as if he's pulled off amazing saves, save after save. I said in a previous video that he is much better at coming out, from his box, set pieces and stuff like that from his line than Schmeichel was, to be honest. I feel a lot more safer when balls come into our box. But he's still a relatively young man, isn't he? He's still got a lot to learn. I'm sure he does get in the Finnish squad and that. Not sure he quite plays for Finland yet, but he's proved last year that he is more than capable. He can handle pressure as well. When Kasper went out injured, Sinisalo has come in and he's handled the pressure well. He's had to play against Rangers a couple of times. He's had to play in Europa League matches and stuff like that. So it's not as if the guy has totally crumbled at that level and stuff. But to me, I personally think we probably do need an upgrade, to be honest with you. maybe I'm being overly critical on Sinisalo there, I don't know, maybe you can let me know in the comments whatever you think, but I think that possibly we should be looking for a wee bit more oomph in there, you know. Don't really know what I mean by that, but I just feel that, you know, there probably is an upgrade to be had there. As far as it comes to other players and that, we'll have all summer to talk about this, but Celtic have been linked with various players, go-ahead Eagle players I've seen and stuff like that, but nothing quite concrete yet from what I've seen. There has been no bids made, I've seen, so it's all just speculation at the moment, as you get at this time of year. You know, there's going to be loads of rumours, loads of people getting linked with various different clubs and all this carry on, but at the end of the day, I am excited about what's going to happen in the future, but I'm also very apprehensive because you never know what's going to happen with Celtic. But good luck to Kasper. I really hope that whatever his next venture is, that it works out really well, because like I said, he's a very, very good career and he deserves whatever's coming next, you know, whether it's going to be punditry. I think looking at him, you know, he does seem very professional, kind of along the lines of Joe Hart, that kind of attitude, you know. He's an upbeat guy. You know, it's funny that the two of them ended up at Celtic and that they gone so well, because I do think they have got kind of personal, I think they've got very personal similarities to each other, if that makes sense. But you know, we'll see what happens in the future for Kasper, but I personally wish him nothing but the best for the future, because he's been really good. So our next story is Martin Neill has been inducted into the LMA Hall of Fame after the incredible achievement of managing 1,000 competitive football matches. That's incredible. The official Celtic website read, Martin Neill was inducted into the League Managers Association LMA Hall of Fame 1000 club on Tuesday night in recognition of his remarkable achievement in managing 1,000 competitive matches. And he was joined in the night in receiving the honour by Steve Bruce. LMA Chief Executive Richard Bevan said, congratulations to both for their lasting contribution to our game and to profession of football management. Martin's managerial journey, from his early success at Wycombe Wanderers through his ensuing managerial career at Norwich City, Leicester City, Celtic, Aston Villa, Sunderland, Nottingham Forest and internationally for the Republic of Ireland, reflects consistent excellence as well as a passion for football that continues to inspire players, colleagues and supporters alike. I mean, that is incredible. 1,000 competitive matches, man. Wow. Unbelievable. You know, every one of them is at the top level, to be honest with you. Started off at Wycombe and then you move on to Leicester and all these other clubs, and he's been a success practically everywhere that he's went. You know, he's a top manager. And he's a man manager as well. You know, we've seen that after the cup final on Saturday. He was talking about Pep Guardiola, how he's seen a thing with Pep Guardiola a few weeks ago where Pep was saying about how it's all about man management. Obviously, you need to be a good coach in that as well and be modern and stuff, but the most important thing is man management, and Martin Neill is the king of that. He's the absolute king of man management. He has got the players playing absolutely out their skin since he walks in the door. You know, a lot of them low in confidence, maybe not even playing particularly well technically and stuff like that, but he has got the best of these players. I mean, look at what he done with Diaz Maida. That's like a whole new player in the second half of the season. Well, when Martin came in anyway. Unbelievable, man. And, you know, we end up going and winning the league, winning the double, and it's all thanks to Martin Neill, and he's got the best out of all these players. And it's just a real joy to see him in there, you know, in the Hall of Fame inductee club. He is, and not only a top level manager, he's a top level man. You know, you can tell in all his interviews and that. I've never had the opportunity to meet Martin, but I can tell you right now, I would love him. I already love him, even though I've never met him, because he is just such a gentleman. And aye, well done to Martin Neill and everybody involved in that.